If I told you that one of the most powerful tools in the modern world wasn't invented by a billionaire, wasn't created in Silicon Valley, and wasn't even designed to make money, would you believe me? Because in the early 1990s, while the world was busy with fax machines, floppy disks, and dial-up internet, a man named Guido van Rossum sat down at his computer. Not to build the next Facebook, not to launch the next Microsoft, but simply to have some fun. He wanted a programming language that was simple, elegant, and fun to use, a language that felt less like wrestling with a machine and more like solving a puzzle. And so, on his holiday break, he began tinkering. Line by line, piece by piece, he built something that would grow into one of the most dominant forces in technology today. It was called Python. But here's the twist. When Python was first released, almost nobody noticed. It wasn't flashy. It wasn't backed by a trillion-dollar company. It was just a quirky little project. Yet somehow, within just a few decades, it spread everywhere. Today, it runs the websites you visit. It powers the AI models changing the world. It fuels automation in finance, healthcare, space exploration. Even TikTok and Instagram use it. So the question is, why? Why did this one language, built by one man on his holiday vacation, become the most popular programming language on Earth? That's what we're about to uncover. Most programming languages are born out of necessity. C was built for operating systems, Java for cross-platform applications, JavaScript for the web. But Python, it was born out of frustration. Guido van Rossum was working at a research institute in Amsterdam. He had used other languages like C and ABC, but they all felt clunky. Programmers spent more time fighting syntax than solving problems. So Guido decided, what if I created a language that humans actually enjoyed using? Python was designed to be readable, almost like English. Indentation replaced confusing brackets. Commands were simple. Code that once took pages could now be written in a few lines. It wasn't just a tool. It was an idea that programming didn't have to feel like work. And that idea would change everything. For the first few years, Python was small, a niche, a curiosity. But slowly, something strange began to happen. Communities started forming around it. Developers began teaching it to newcomers because it was easy to learn. Universities started adopting it for beginner courses. And then, the internet exploded. When the web became the next frontier, Python was right there, offering frameworks like Django and Flask to build websites quickly. Startups loved it. Big companies began experimenting with it. And as technology advanced, Python adapted. Data science? Python could do it. Machine learning? Python could handle it. Automation? Python excelled. By the 2000s, Python wasn't just a language, it was a movement. There are hundreds of programming languages out there. So why Python? Simplicity. Writing Python code feels natural. It's readable, beginner-friendly, and elegant. Versatility, from web apps to artificial intelligence, it can do almost anything. Community, millions of developers contribute libraries, frameworks, and tutorials, making Python a living, breathing ecosystem. Future-proofing, as tech evolves, Python evolves with it. But perhaps the biggest reason? Accessibility. Anyone, anywhere can pick it up. You don't need a PhD in computer science to build something with Python. You just need curiosity. And in a world where knowledge spreads like wildfire, accessibility beats complexity every single time. Think Python is just for coders? Think again. Google. Its search engine relies heavily on Python. NASA uses it to crunch data and guide space missions. YouTube, Instagram, Spotify, all powered by Python. Artificial intelligence, from ChatGPT to self-driving cars, Python is the backbone. In fact, nearly every industry, from healthcare to finance, relies on Python for automation, analysis, and innovation. It has gone from just another coding language to the invisible infrastructure of modern life. Here's the deeper truth. Python isn't just a tool, it's a gateway drug to technology. Most people fear coding. It looks intimidating, complicated, but when they try Python, something changes. Suddenly, coding doesn't feel impossible. It feels doable, achievable. Psychologists call this the gateway effect, when something easy opens the door to something big. Python lowers the barrier of entry, giving people their first win in programming. That win creates momentum, and momentum creates obsession. This is why schools, boot camps, and even self-taught developers are flocking to Python. It's not just learning to code, it's learning to think differently. Right now, the hottest field in the world is artificial intelligence. And guess what language dominates it? Python. From TensorFlow to PyTorch, from OpenAI to Google DeepMind, Python is the language of AI. Think about that. The most transformative technology of the 21st century is being written in the same language that a single man created on his holiday break in the 90s. That's not just success, that's legacy. Will Python last forever? Probably not. Every language eventually gets replaced. But here's the thing, Python has already won. Even if another language takes over, Python will remain the foundation of millions of projects, companies, and technologies. It has cemented itself as a first step, a launchpad into the world of programming. And in that sense, Python is immortal. So here's the irony. Guido van Rossum never set out to change the world. He just wanted something fun to play with over the holidays. Yet today, his creation runs billion-dollar companies, drives artificial intelligence, and inspires millions of people to learn programming for the very first time. And maybe that's the real lesson here. Big revolutions don't always start with billion-dollar funding rounds or global corporations. Sometimes they start with a single person tinkering alone on their computer, chasing curiosity. Python proves that you don't need to be a genius to change the world. You just need to be curious enough to try. So if you've ever wanted to learn coding, if you've ever wondered how technology works, if you've ever dreamed of building something, Python is your doorway. Because who knows? The next billion-dollar innovation might not come from Silicon Valley. It might come from you. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more stories that reveal the hidden psychology behind the tools shaping our world, make sure to hit subscribe, because we're just getting started.